All right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Y'all seen a black screen, but that's okay. There we go. What is up? We are live here on a Thursday, picking up the slack for the dev team. I'm being joined by our good buddy Pete. What's going on, Pete?
Hello, Mo. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Appreciate you joining us today, hanging out for a little bit. We're gonna call some races and we'll talk for a little bit. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Good, good. So how's version 3 going for you?
It's been a roller coaster. So we were probably quite vocal about the race map to start with. It came as a bit of a shock, I suppose, to everyone. The variation and the variants that came with V3. It was just so different to V2. Like you could feel it every race. You could almost feel it. You could see it in the visuals. You could feel it in the horses you were entering. I think the idea and the principle behind it was the right idea. I think it was the right thing to do. V2 was too predictable. It was too um, you could take one look at the race card and know who was going to place or who was going to win. So I think they've done the right thing. They just kind of the execution of it was a little bit off, but I think it's in a reasonable place now. It feels good to me. I don't know about you.
I agree. I think I might be in a little bit different predicament. Again, I don't have my bags aren't as big. I have some horses that are probably questionable, but I also was kind of hoping I could test them out for a little bit cheaper. That's been my biggest problem. I think I have a lot of horses that run 9, 10, 11, and it's like there's no races that are under like 300, 400 Derby, which I know it's not even that much money to be honest, but if I got 10 horses, 8 horses, and I'm trying to run them 3, 4 times to get data, it does get a little overwhelming for my pocket, to try to get some data on my horses. I don't know if you have the same problem, but it's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean we've got some pretty monster horses, so we're not struggling for. We've got a decent pot of race entry funds there, so we're not struggling in that regard. I can see how people are going to struggle though when it comes to live, because if you think about how much discovery you do have to do to determine what your optimum distance is for your horses, it's going to end up being essentially 2 seasons worth of racing if you did genuinely want to try 2 races at every distance, 4 to 12. You could kind of lump it in as sprints, mediums, and long runs or routes, right?
Mhm.
But if you tried every single variation of that, then you're looking at 16 races, 20 races before you've actually got a handle on what distance your horse is, and that does add up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And and that's something else too. I mean, I don't really want to go down certain roads here, but we got 7 minutes here to the next race. I think one of the biggest problems we're gonna have, and we can talk about it, the wait from live to getting new people engaged, right? I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles that we face, just because of the waiting time. And anybody that's looking to come in, if we're trying to onboard people in day one, it's like, all right, cool, come check out the game. Now you got to wait till September to get a horse. I mean, that's going to be a little tricky of a sell, I mean, if people have horses they want to get rid of, like if you guys have an abundance of horses where you're like, hey, we can start hooking up people that are on the sidelines, that's great. But what if there isn't? What if only 900 horses get redeemed? Everyone's kind of hanging on to their horses. I mean, what do we do there, right? I mean, that could be a potential issue. I see it. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, getting new users is kind of that is the biggest hurdle they've got to get. For starters, they need to get the eyes on the project. They need to get more users in to even want to buy the horses. Right now, there just isn't enough eyes, and even if there was, you've kind of touched on it. The supply issue is there. There's not enough supply, even if there was multiple eyes, which is why they haven't done the marketing engine yet. You can see
Right.
exactly why.
Yep.
I think so that there'll be a batch of, assuming they go live next month, there'll be a batch of yearling foals ready for sale in June, July time, ready to race, like you said, around September. So people would hopefully, I mean, that is when I would like to see a crescendo of marketing activity is when those new users are picking up yearling horses and preparing their stable for the second phase. I mean, the Gen Zero phase feels like the OG phase. Um, and the next phase is going to be hopefully a bunch of new users picking up a load of new horses that come on the market, and hopefully they come up with a cool auction or a yearling auction or some kind of cool event that we'll get behind and make a big deal of. And hopefully they get enough eyes on the project to for new users to come in their droves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if we market too early, right? Again, people are going to come in, they're going to be sitting around with their hands in their pockets, and humans are creatures of habit. They get bored very easily, right? And we don't want them walking away before they even get a chance to really play the game or see what it's all about, which could lead to other opportunities. Things like syndicates. I talk about that quite a bit. Syndicates with multiple people. I know a lot of you guys already kind of do that. Me and Vault are looking at doing that with his community to get some of them onboarded in V1, in live rather, instead of waiting around. Maybe we could talk to somebody in the community that has a horse they're looking to unload. Maybe help us out and get something that we can all race together on Friday or Saturday night. And we could all, pool our ideas together, pool our money together throughout the week, and then decide how we want to race. So a syndicate, I think, is going to be really important for people to, start networking, rubbing elbows with the right people, just find some like-minded people that you want to hang out with for a couple days a week and be a degenerate, right? I mean, I think that would be the easiest way to kind of onboard people early.
I completely agree. Actually, we are a syndicate. I don't know if you know that about YSM, but we originally it was just me and my partner who had some leftover money from Zed Run. We brought it over. We decided to. I mean, we're completely out of Zed Run at that point. This was about a year ago. And we managed to trade our way up. We only intended to come in and buy a couple of A horses and see where it took us. We ended up trading up, and we got quite lucky and picked up a few under market value pieces, and we ended up with, I think, 3 S horses, like pretty well bred S horses, and 1 bitchin' S minus horse. And at that point, I think this was kind of June last year. We're looking right. We can either get out now, where we'll be massively up and we'll be laughing, or we can look to get bigger. I mean, we didn't have pockets of our own to get bigger, but what we could do is syndicate. So that's what we did. In fact, the public offering document is probably still floating around Discord somewhere. But we wrote one up, we dropped it in the Discord and said, anyone want to invest in us? And what happened was we not only got funds in, but we got people investing via horses. Like they donated their horses. We worked out a formula around how much that buy-in would be and how much their horses constituted their buy-in. So we've got 3 investors now who have got varying percentages of the YSM race and stable. And between us, we've got some of the best LDS horses in the game, and we can do that because we've gone together as opposed to separately. So there's a huge case for it. I think that is hopefully the next great wave of PFL interaction is people. I love the sound of Vol's community, for example. That sounds brilliant. And I think they can get behind good horses, and you can all chip in to buy good horses. And this game, I think, is much more fun if you've got good horses and you've got a chance of winning every race.
100% agree. I mean, like I said, I mean, my horses run okay. I mean, the horses actually, now that I've been running some cheaper races on the schedule, I've actually been hitting the podium with most of my horses. At least get back my entry money, which is nice. I'm not rolling in money. Again, I don't really plan on playing for that much. Like, not really high stakes. I'm not that type of guy. But I like to have the action. I'm here more to call races and just kind of get a community together and have a place to go hang out and be a degenerate. But it's been pretty cool so far in V3 for me. I like the new running styles a lot better. We're not seeing, like you said, predictable racing. We're not looking at the FF numbers right away and being like, yep, this is the winner. I mean, we need, because the quicker we get away from that, the better. You know what I mean? Because that's not real horse racing. If you bet the favorites all day, it's like a 32% win rate or something, you're not going to be profitable. You might have decent days here and there where you get your money back, but I mean, you have to have the long shots. You got to have the bombs come in. I mean, it's just what keeps the sport going.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if you can get, so the stables are the kind of the quintessential example of what a good syndicated organization looks like. I mean, that is run brilliantly, albeit I think they need a little bit more attention to make sure their tickets are as good as they can be. But in terms of the mechanic behind that syndicate, and I think there was a blog out yesterday or today that alluded to that. They really are well run, and I would if anyone was thinking of starting a syndicate, I'd probably look to their model, maybe even get in touch with them to see how best to do it. We were a bit different because we were an established stable who then looked to almost float what we had. If you're starting from scratch, the stables model's a pretty strong one.
Cool. All right. Well, let's call this race here we got coming up, and then we'll dive back into some other news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, degenerates of all ages. We're here on a Thursday afternoon, and it's 4:20. Perfect timing. Horses are at the gate. And they're off here in the third time Thursday allowance, and from in between it's Flying Eve out with Natty the Champ, and comes Scuba Stephanie on the extreme outside with Nevada Smith down below, and it's Sultana who rides along in fifth with Midnight Interlude, rounding out your top six here as they head around the clubhouse turn in this 11 furlong left turning affair on the dirt. Track is fast and smoke is good. And so is Flying Eve, as Flying Eve now pokes the nose in front here, in front of Nevada Smith and Natty the Champ. Also joining them here on the outside is Sultana, Scuba Stephanie, and Midnight Interlude, as it's six across the track here, as they pass the wire for the first time. New leader, though, is Nevada Smith, as Nevada Smith now starts to pull away here. It opens up by 2 lengths and tucks in on the rail here for a ground-saving trip. And another break, it's Natty the Champ, who looks to get rolling here with Flying Eve. Now goes right on by on cue. The announcer curses Natty the Champ now. Natty the Champ now wants to take advantage here and goes by, and now has a lead of their own. And comes Midnight Interlude with Flying Eve now, looking for room in between horses, moving up into second. As Nevada Smith now battles back on the rail, with Midnight Interlude now dropping back here is Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga looks to cut corners here and cut horses off even. Looks like might have clipped heels, but now backs up as Harry Brain. Harry Brain starts to advance, and Atlas backs off here as Scuba Stephanie moves back into sixth. As we make our way to the important part, it's back to the front, and it's Natty the Champ now. Natty the Champ shows the way here into the turn. 1 mile in 1 minute and 40 seconds, as this one is starting to come to a close, and Natty the Champ starting to be pushed here on the inside by Flying Eve, but not too pressed yet, as Natty the Champ still holds strong. And down below, look out, is Mona Lot. No, Mona Little, she moans a lot, but Mona Lot now dives on the rail instantly as Scuba Stephanie gets the better of it. Down the center of the track now, it's Scuba Stephanie. Flying Eve down the center, trying to get final 100 meters to go. Scuba Stephanie on the inside, Flying Eve on the inside, Mona Lot down on the rail, but it's going to be Scuba Stephanie. Love the name, over Flying Eve and Mona Lot. Wow, I am rusty. Holy shit.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
That's a topical winner because the Grape Syndicate won that one.
Ah, there we go.
Syndicate's bringing it home.
Yeah, right on cue.
We had 2 runners in that race. I didn't even realise. They both did pretty badly.
You guys had 2 in that. I like to take a look, and usually Vault will do a lot of post-race analysis too. But just kind of taking a look here. I mean,
yeah. So Scuba Stephanie's had a pretty good in V3. That's a pretty good record. 6 runs, 2 wins, 2 podiums.
Yep.
So you'd probably you would have had Scuba Stephanie and Mona Lot on top of your predictions, I think, though.
I mean, Mona Lot, I'd probably have to go back and look more at the races themselves, right? But if you're looking at the preference alone, I mean, she actually looks like she does hold stronger here over Natty the Champ. They're both S horses, right? And then Scuba Stephanie, 2.5, 3, 1. But yeah, I mean, and I've watched Mona Lot run probably 4 out of her 6 races, to be honest. I feel like I always see this horse. So yeah, I mean, the fact that, she didn't win the race, kind of tells you that the formula is kind of working as intended. I know some people would certain bags might not be too happy with early results, but I've said it numerous times in Discord. We can't just go crazy off of a small sample size, right? I mean, I think you agree with that.
Yeah, and not just that. I think we have to get our heads around the fact that V2 was unsustainable. We couldn't see the win rates that we were seeing in V2 because it wouldn't happen in real life. Because by the time you get there, people would be turned off. You have to give pretty much everyone, but the little guys, got to have a chance to win a big race. They just have to. Otherwise, they're not entering the race, and you're going to see fields of 4 and 5, as you are doing tonight. Actually, I mean, it's funny that all of the other races, the allowances, the stakes, they're all filled. The handicaps filled, and you get to the main event, and there's 5 horses, and I think that is what we'll see until there's a critical mass of S horses bred. I think that's what we'll see in live as well. But S owners and the big bags owners have just got to get their heads around the fact that we're not going to see those win rates that we saw in V2. And once we accept that, everything becomes for the good of the long-term game, I would say.
Right, but if we accept it because they made the horses worse, that might be a tough pill to swallow, right? But if you accept it because that's how horse racing works, where over time horses will kind of slot themselves into position to race in more competitive racing for that horse, right? And I've talked about it again in Discord, where there's a Churchill Downs, there's a Saratoga, there's a Delta Downs, there's an Evangeline. You know what I'm saying? There's shitholes that run at night. You know what I mean? And there has to be a Delta Downs in Photofinish. Every horse is not going to be running Churchill Downs races. You know what I mean? And right away, every horse kind of starts in the same level playing field. But after a week, those S horses that are bound to win, they're going to get their win. The B horses, the A minuses, they're not, or most of them aren't. So they're going to kind of sit down, they're going to fall back, and they're going to start running against each other more competitively. And again, over time, these horses will separate themselves more and more, and you'll start to get that really competitive, almost mirroring real horse racing. I don't know if we need to go sectoring horses and classifying horses. I think it was Sparky Glint was throwing around some Australia stuff, and I get it, but I don't know, man. It's a tough pill for me to swallow because again, we're like a couple weeks in, and people are already like, "Well, my horse sucks," or "My horse is the greatest." Kevin wins a race, and everyone's ready to set shit on fire. It's to me, we just kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Not saying it was unwarranted, but I feel like we jumped the gun just a little bit.
I think it was because it was such a shock between V2 and V3. I don't think it was expected. I don't think it was signposted quite to that extent either. Nor do I think it was intended. Actually, I think they went too far with it. I don't think they intended to. Having said that, I agree. I pretty much agree with what you say. And I think, like I say, once the S horse owners get their head around it, and the expectations are just a little more aligned, and then I think it becomes more palatable, and people can see the longer term gain as opposed to the short term what's in front of them with Gen Zero.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. And it's going to be hard, right? Because what do we have, like 900 and something tickets redeemed in V3 or something like that? I think it was shy of 1,000 last time I saw. So I mean,
yeah, the date has gone off. I was just having a look for that, but the date has gone off Racer's Edge. I think it was over 1,000 last time I checked, but I could be wrong.
Was it over 1,000? Okay. I mean, I just remember when I saw it was 3-digit, and I was like, well, that's a little concerning. I mean, I was expecting to see, at least some more people come back in and some new names. I feel like we see new names in Discord, but they're like new players. They're not necessarily people that are like, hey, I'm back for V3, right? Like, because I wasn't around for V1. I was around for a little bit of V2, So, wait, no. I was around for the end of V1, and I was around for V2, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a job to be done on dormant owners. I think there will be a portion of tickets, there almost certainly will be a portion of tickets that actually never get redeemed, that will go dormant and dead forever now. I think the crypto winter has been so harsh on some people that they will just leave it and never come back. So I think we have to write off a certain percentage of that population. How much of a percentage that is, I've got no idea. It'd be interesting to see. But I mean, the key to it is obviously that the assets are depreciating assets from the day that the game goes live. The clock starts and there's no going back. So we have to find a way to get those owners back in their wallets and in the game as early in the live build as they can. And that'll obviously improve volumes and so on and so forth. But there's some big names. I mean, Lewis, who obviously owned at least one of the famous 1-1 horses, and he owns one of the S Plus horses as our bred now. I'll pass over to you, Mo, just because the race going.
Yeah, I was gonna let you finish the thought. Appreciate that. All right, we will pick that up right after this race. What is going on, by the way? What up, Philly? What up, David? What up, Hammy? I don't know if it's recorded on YouTube, but it is recorded on Twitch. I gotta check my YouTube settings. But they are off here. I didn't even plan on streaming this today, and Orbiting Onyx breaks well here from between horses, as does NWO Frankie. And comes Double Scoop, also showing early speed with Kit Kat on the outside. Back for fifth, that's Harry Pancakes and King Bruno in the green silks, with about 8 lengths to make up here from the leader as they head around the first and only turn in this 4 furlong right turning affair. And it's Orbiting Onyx is the one to catch, carrying 10 pounds, but it's NWO Frankie who strikes. And then down the center of the track, it's Harry Pancakes now who pounces to the lead and starts to pull away by a length. Down the rail, it's Amazing Grace digging in. Oh, Hail Mary, full of grace. It's down at the wire. It's going to be Amazing Grace. How sweet it is over Harry Pancakes and Ice Knife's cousin. Didn't really mean to start a prayer there. I was trying to go right to the song, but I completely botched that. Okay.
You've put a lot of work into these calls, haven't you, Mo?
I put way too much work in. I have like 3 Google spreadsheets. You know, I have all sorts of stuff going on.
No, it shows, man.
Appreciate it. You know, I feel like, man, like we got to do whatever we can to, you know, just engage people with regular horse racing, you know, stuff as much as we can, right? And I feel like just jumping in and watching horses running around with no voice, you know, they added sound, which is nice. When I started, we didn't even have sound. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like it definitely adds something. I hope more people do try to call races at some point. You know, I'd like to see some videos of people giving it a shot and, you know, trying to take my job a little bit, because I wouldn't be totally against it, having someone to, you know, bounce off of.
Yeah, keep you on your toes. I think that eventually, I would imagine there's got to be some kind of AI caller. I mean,
Don't
you
even.
won't be
Don't
able
even. I'm already trying to write it. So if anyone's going to patent this shit, it's going to be me. Damn it. Why do you have to say that, man? I should have told you before. Things we can't talk about on stream. That's one of them. My ideas.
Kill the stream, kill it dead.
Well, no, there actually is a plugin that I've been trying to mess with in Python that's like an on-screen reader. So I've been trying to, but it's not really for real-time video, which is the problem. It's more for like feeding pre-made video, like YouTube videos and stuff through it. So we need something real-time that I can actually pull the data off of and then just have my voice read it, you know? Or any AI voice. We could have any celebrity voice and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, live callers should probably be a treat for the big events or your big Friday, Saturday night races. But I think you're right. Having races called by something would add something. So I could see why that would having all races called by in some form would help. Having said that, I mean, look, the actual visuals of this game and the everything around the visuals, the UI, the UX, everything is so good at this stage, considering we're in beta. I mean, it's not even, to be honest, it's not even moved that much since the first beta, but I remember being blown away that first beta when we first converted our tickets. I couldn't believe how strong the UX and the UI was.
That's actually a good segue. I do want you to pick up on that. How did you come across Photofinish? Because I came across it when I just typed in any other blockchain racing game besides Zed Run, and I came across D-Race, and I came across Photofinish. So how did you come across it?
It's an I was going to ask you the same question actually, and it's interesting. I think I got grabbed by a Facebook advert, and I only recognized it because I have downloaded Photofinish before on my phone. So I've played Photofinish, the original game, years ago. We're talking 5-6 years ago. So
Oh, the mobile,
not
right?
HR, yeah, not HRM.
The one
HRM
prior to that, right?
no, HRM was after Photofinish. So Photofinish was the original,
Right.
and
So,
it
so
was
yeah, it was
just
prior to HRM, right? Yeah.
yeah, it was an RPG. So you are the horse, and you're just trying to time your press of a button to accelerate at the right time. And I just remembered this game. I saw it. It was quite a fun game, but I mean, I think I played it for a month and then lost it. It lost its way from my iPhone. But it was a pretty good game. I never downloaded HRM until I got into this, so I didn't really realize the HRM had landed. But that's why I joined, because I'm pretty sure I saw an advert on, I think it was on Facebook, and I recognized it, and I recognized the game, and I instantly clicked on it. And I was at a time when, I mean, I was never big in Zed Run, and I didn't have huge money in it. Maybe a couple of, or maybe an ether or 1.5 ETH at the max. I mean, that was quite a lot of money at that point when ether was.
Oh shit. Heh. Um. My bad. Hold on, folks. Heh. Hold on a second. We might have just come across a problem here, folks. I gotta hit up P real quick. Okay. I don't even know if we can keep the same Zoom call going. Oh shit. Was he able to join? You able to join back in? Yep. Okay.
You got me back in.
Yo, you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Gotta get you back on the screen here. That's my fault, chat. I'm stupid. I don't know how this stuff works, man. I don't. Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Have you got my voice in, but you can't see me?
Oh, there we go.
Dude, if you're getting bored of what I was saying, you should have just told me.
I mean, I didn't really, try to call you out too much. Now I don't get it, because now I'm seeing... in the actual...
Is my voice is still coming through the stream, is it, but not my visual?
Yeah, your voice is coming through. We got 2 minutes
Cool.
for me to figure this out.
I'll carry on my joining story while I sort it out. So yeah, Facebook. I'm pretty sure it was a Facebook advert, and it got me thinking the other day as to why they're not running them now. But yeah, I basically it was a good time to leave Zed Run because things were still worth something. So I could liquidate and move over here. And in fact, actually, the final straw was, I don't know if you were involved or remember the Red Village, which was another project by the Z team. And
oh,
the final
God.
straw was, yeah, it was a mint. There was a fabled mint about that project. Uh, and the mint went badly, and I didn't get anything, and I just threw my toys at the pram and instantly liquidated everything I had in Z, and liquidated all my Ethereum and moved it over to Solana and bought a couple of fine fillies as they were. And oh my god, that fine filly phase was addictive. That was addictive. I think if you joined when tickets were tickets, then you won't have any recollection of that phase. But oh, good grief, that was addictive.
Yeah, you talk about like the PFP breeding and stuff?
Oh man, the
Oh, dude, I
golden
would've went
age.
nuts. I would've went nuts.
Yeah, it was almost an obsession at one point. Cause it was one of the few projects in this space where actually people were seriously not even paper handing, they were accidentally fumbling assets. So because the fine fillies were obviously, they had their own number, they had their own collection number, but they had a rarity number, and people didn't realize the rarity number. So high rarity fillies were getting dropped for not high rarity prices, and it became an obsession to try and pick up a few of these fillies, and that's how we ended up moving up the ranks. It was getting lucky on one or two of those.
So I mean, let's just. I know we got 20 seconds here. You take some of these S minus horses or even S horses that say sell for like $1,500, right? What was the value of that like on PFPs? I mean, what would that have cost like getting them back then?
Good question. Solana was.
Well, Solana was expensive back then. Yeah, let's just think about it.
We'll pick this up after the race.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am perfect at answering asking long-winded questions when the races are going off, but I don't normally host a show, so deal with it. And they're racing here in the third time Thursday Stakes, and it's my favorite, your favorite, Puff Daddy on the outside in front of Silver Oak, and it's White Prussian from down on the inside with 100 Acre in between. And Screaming Eagle now gets going early on the outside with Renee, rounding out your top 6 here on the leaderboard as they head to the clubhouse turn in this 7-furlong left-turning affair. Opening quarter in 23 and change. Quick pace, but Puff Daddy is relishing the facts so far as he kicks clear here by 2 over Silver Oak. That's another breakdown at the rail. That's Can't Stand Ya. Can't Stand Ya now. He's got about 7 to make up to the leader, but sitting pretty down at the rail. And comes Nightcrawler, followed by Screaming Eagle. And the Bozo's on top now. Starts to advance as well with White Prussian even as 100 Acre now starts to get going. Half mile and 47 and change. Puff Daddy is cruising as he's making his way here around the far turn all alone. He just wants to dance with somebody, but it's Puff Daddy by 3. Nightcrawler gets going here, but might have turned on the brake, accelerated too late into the final 100. Here we go, past the big cement balls. I might have jinxed it. Puff Daddy's looking to hold on. It's Puff Daddy to the wire with Nightcrawler. It's going to be Puff Daddy over Nightcrawler and the Bozos on top. I was looking for a bad boy reference the whole stretch and couldn't think of one. I try not to get canceled, you know what I'm saying? I'm a very, I'm abrasive sometimes, you know. It was a good race.
I like the, that horse seemed to have he seemed to be a leader, he seemed to lead the pack out and want to stay in front. I hope that there is that element of giving these horses some kind of identity and personality in the race math.
Right, so I mean, we can maybe talk about that real quick, because 7 minutes. Are you an avid horse player? Like, do you understand like pacing of races and like what makes the pace? Do you like, is that something you really look into, or you don't care about it?
Yeah, I'm a in real life horse racing fan. I'm not the most devout, but I'll take the afternoon off for Cheltenham as it's been all week this week. So it's the biggest UK horse racing festival this week. We're into day 3 of 4. So I've got the afternoon off to go down the pub tomorrow to watch it. So I do watch a fair amount of horse racing. You kind of know, you pick up a lot of a lot of understanding about horse racing just from years of watching it. I would just like to see it, that there are the elements where when they start referring to as real as it gets, they're the things I'd like to be as real as it gets, is to have stalkers, to have horses that like to sit on the bridle, or horses like to sit well behind the pack and like to zoom through at the end. It would be nice if those features were, as I doubt they are now, but if at some point they were coded into horses, that would be a pretty cool feature, right?
Oh, for sure. And if you look at like that race in particular, which is why I mentioned it. So if you took a horse and I said to you, all right, cool, a horse is running on the front by himself and he runs a 24 quarter, right? 24 and change quarter, maybe 25. Now, you're probably going to look at me, if you know how this stuff works, and you're going to say, yeah, he's got a good shot at going wire to wire, right? He's by himself. He's running a slow, modest pace. The jockey probably ranked him down a little bit, rated him. And in that race, that's what happened, right? Now, if another horse, let's say, and this is what I try to explain, and I don't know if I always explain it well, but in this race in particular, another horse had the same speed as Puff Daddy would have come up, he would have challenged him, and now they're racing each other out. So now it's setting it up for the stalkers and the closers, where in this race, nobody challenged him. He ran a 23 and change, which is, I guess, modest in this game. So he was able to go wire to wire. But I'm just saying, if another horse were to come wear him down on the front end, would it even affect him in photo finish? Sometimes I feel like it wouldn't. The horse is still going to run the race that he's generated to run in the algorithm, right? They don't really affect each other in the outcome of the race. If a horse gets cut off, it doesn't really knock him off his edge. You know what I'm saying? The horse in front will actually get out of the way as far as the computer program is concerned and actually let him go by if you ever see that happen.
Yeah, so I think all of this is from comments that the team have made. I think all of this on their radar. I agree with you. I don't think any of it is built into race math right now. I don't think it needs to be right now. The product, the race math, the visuals, the racing is good enough to go live, and I think that's got to be the priority. But in terms of iterations and improving things, I can see a pathway to that. I think they probably can too. And it just makes things more interesting. It makes things more more callable for everyone watching it, more exciting for everyone watching it. You can start to predict how, like in real life, you know that a horse is going to dive off and try and tire out the rest of the field. They try and pull them out so fast that by the time that they get to the last furlongs, they've worn them out. So it'd be nice for that to be built in. I don't think it is now. I don't think it will be soon.
No, it's not easy. And I said it to Paul. I said I talk about these things, and I don't ever want to make it sound like it's easy because it's not. I do code games. I've made a lot of apps and programs in my life. I understand it's not easy, but I'm just saying I wonder, like, I don't know if a lot of these people are, again, watching horse racing every day, understand, pacing of the races. I know they have people they consult, but are these people that are like Paul, where every day that they're looking at it going, yeah, that doesn't really look right to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how deep that goes, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. But I do, as long as we can kind of understand that there are ways that they can go and avenues they can take to really, like you said, as real as it gets, right? But I do agree with you. You could pump this game out tomorrow, go live, and the racing is way, way good enough. That's not even a word. I'm going to sleep, by the way, chat. It's definitely in a position now where it can succeed with the way it works now. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think trying to perfect it would be, or trying to perfect it before going live or anything would be a mistake, and I don't think they would do that.
No, you can't.
But it would also be a mistake to leave it forevermore and say that it's done. I think iterative change, once things should touch wood, things should get easier once they go live and once they iron out the initial kinks, and I'm sure there'll be a hotbed of hot fixes for 2 or 3 months. Beyond that, I mean, race math and user experience should be the two main. Sorry, not race math, race visuals and user experience should be the two main improvement points. So once all the fundamentals are in place, once they're happy that the algos are there and there's only ever iterative change in race math and maybe in breed and algos. Once that is there and the bedrock of the game, then you can start to fix the those things that are nice to have.
Right. So you're saying like user interface, UX, stuff like that. Like, what are you looking to see? Or do you want to see like they had like in the Derby where like the little arrows come up off the horse and have like the overlay? Are you looking to have that type of experience, or?
Yeah, I mean that is cool. As in when they do the simulations for the Kentucky Derby. I mean that would that would certainly help a caller like yourself, Mo.
I actually find it distracting.
Yeah, I think we've discussed before. I'd like some of the softer shite, some of the. Again, it shouldn't be anywhere on the pecking order on the priority list, but I would like to see the parade ring. I'd like to see horses walk around before the race. I'd like to see a bit of build up. I know for like we're a minute away from a race, for example, and I would like there to be a build up to a race like that. I think that lends itself to streaming, lends itself to excitement. I mean, the one thing that I think actually we don't have anything of at the minute, we kind of touched on it, something that gets people racing is for kudos and for achievement and for the gravitas and bragging rights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've got that yet. I don't think we've got something that everyone's aspiring to. Even with the TT derbies, that's the closest we've got is the weekly derbies. And I say that I'm absolutely fuming that we've not been able to win one in 3 or 4 LD derbies.
Hey, at least you're competing.
Yeah. But that is one of the things that I think will bring people to make negative EV decisions. It will bring people to throw horses in races where maybe they shouldn't be. Is gravitas, is that draw, is that pull to win. I'll hand over to you for the big one anyway.
Nope. All right, Jack, we're back at the track. Major race time here on Photofinish. 5-horse field, locked and loaded. And they're racing here in a third time Thursday Cup Grade 1. It's Barbarity from between. It runs out with Goblin Heat, Goblin Need even. Then comes Elvis down at the rail, followed by Chico in the red silks. And in fifth here is Bob Sacamano. Everybody's favorite, Bob Sacamano. Where's Jerry? Where's George? I'm sure they're hanging out there in the stands. But for now, it's all about Goblin Neat as he passes the wire here in the lead for the first time. Everybody wave to your current leader. Opening quarter in 24 change, modest pace, but is being pushed here on the outside. Barbarity, who looks to press the issue here early with about a length and a half to make up. And a break of 2, there comes Elvis, who starts to push on the outside nice and early. Half miles come and gone, 48 change, as this trio now is starting to escape, as Chico and Bob Sacamano need to wake up. Wake up, little Susie, smell the smelling salt. We're on the backstretch. Half mile, 48 change. Think we already called that, but we'll call it again. But Goblin Neat now starts to sneak away. Leaves Barbarity by 2. Another break on the outside. Comes Elvis just stalking the way here. And Chico down the rail with a ground saving trip. And Bob Sacamano just showing up here for the kudos. But 3/4 and 113, if you know what I mean. We're heading into the far turn. It's Goblin Neat trying to take this field to the promised land, but he's got some action now on the outside as Barbarity looks to pull off the rail and challenge once again. But Goblin Neat has something underneath and has something left in the tank. 200 meters to go, digging in gamely. Barbarity on the outside, now fading. Chico down at the rail. Elvis is trying to revive himself from Graceland one more time, but he's not going to make it. Priscilla. It's a honka second place. Over Goblin Neat's going to take this one over Elvis and Chico. Sometimes I don't know what the hell comes out of my mouth when I'm talking, but that was a race. That was a good race.
I wish Elvis isn't dead, but I wish he bloody was. He keeps beating us on the track, Elvis. Yeah, Barbarity in that race was on a horse. And that's a bit disappointing. So we're looking keenly at the yielding races. We think that we're always getting beat by the firm horses on yielding. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays out more.
Yeah, which, and again, in real life, it actually would work the opposite. Even a little bit of moisture would help the horses that like moisture more than horses that like a completely dry track. So it's definitely something that they could look at.
I think the other factor is that the LDF horses tend to be from rarer fine fillies and they have more boost. So the maximum boost you can get from an LDS ticket is a 19 boost, and you can get 19.5 boosts out of LDF. Just because it wasn't possible to breed an LDS horse with a top 100 fine filly. So I think we're always against it when it comes to race math.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I don't do the show by myself, chat. You know what I'm saying? We got people that know way more than me. I'm just a horse guy. I'm the guy calling races, you know what I'm saying? That's actually really good to know. And I don't know if it was you or somebody else, is always, the first couple weeks at least, when I was giving bad information, you guys would ping me on Discord and be like, hey, by the way, this is the rarest breed. This is why you don't see these horses too often, Because again, I knew coming in at a later time, And then I just kind of dove into the race streams with Vault, and I was trying to learn as much as I could, and he was trying to learn, and we're trying to like get everything together and put a show together at the same time. So that's why again I do appreciate coming on last minute to kind of help out with the show here today.
Yeah, no problem. And you know what? That understanding the history and understanding where we came from is actually one of my concerns about new users. I know the team are probably conscious of this. I know they probably want to make sure that everything is self-contained in live, and that you don't need to have an intimate knowledge of what came before. Whilst it probably still is an advantage to OGs, obviously. I think that is quite important. I think when horses get converted from tickets into horses, that almost needs to be the point where everything that came up to that point is forgotten. Me knowing that, me understanding that, it shouldn't give me an advantage, but it probably does at this point. I think we need to move away from that.
Oh, I agree, and I know we're a Solana project, or the game is a Solana project, or the platform is a Solana project because it's not a game. It's hard to shy away from certain groups and certain people, right? But in reality, if what they said is true, and this game could sustain and run if Solana went down tomorrow, just because of how it's built, I mean, we can kind of get away from all of that mess, right? And all the arguments and all the crypto crashes, right? Like, we could separate ourselves from that easily by just becoming like a self-sustaining digital horse economy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've thought at length about that. I know the various Solana crashes will have made them think even more keenly about it. There was a question from Poseidon in the Discord the other day about NFTs and ownership of the assets, even though it's going into their own self-contained platform. I thought their answer to it, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I read it and I thought their answer was absolutely brilliant. I think it's the exact right thing where these NFTs or these the tickets are converted within their system. I don't think it's in place now, but they intend it to be in place where you can basically convert it back out into an NFT, if I understood it. And that's exactly the right thing to do. They need to, whilst they've got their own platform, which is the right thing to do, get yourself off Solana and other networks. Whilst they've got their own platform, you also need the ability to go and sell it on some of the marketplaces, which have maybe got more eyeballs, got more footfall. Like, they will lose something by not being on those marketplaces. If they can get themselves on OpenSea, and if they can get themselves still on Magic Eden and be showing on the front pages, then you kind of get those speculative by chance users who come across them and like the look of them and go and take a bet.
I mean, it makes sense. I guess I see that. To me, I'm like, if they're looking for Photofinish, they're going to come to Photofinish. If you want profile pictures and you want, Bored Apes and stuff, you go to OpenSea, right? Like, I just feel like the people that are going to come and want to be horse owners and gamblers, right? Like, I don't think they're the crypto crowd, and I could be completely wrong on that, But, again, I see this game in, like, OTBs and gambling pavilions, you know what I'm saying? On TVG overnight when there's no American horse tracks running and they don't show Australia. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I see this whole thing thriving. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a whole difference of vision, But if you can convert it back out to an NFT, I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody, then yeah, I think that's great. But I think to just push it as an NFT platform, which I don't think anybody does, I certainly don't. And no one I talk to really does. But, pushing it as like an NFT platform, like, I guess even like Zed, because Zed is primarily run, on Matic and ETH. So it's a little bit different. But if this doesn't run that way, I mean, it's easy to market this, like I said, towards the degenerate gambler and those types of people. And that's something else, too. I don't know if you saw the article. I think I posted it in Discord, where basically there was a whole, like, association. They had, like, a meeting or something, basically saying, like, hey, it was, like, UK and, like, Naira, stuff like that. We have to embrace digital racing. There is no way around it. We have to embrace the digital age. They have to upgrade their facilities to, encourage digital interaction, stuff like that. They have to do it. They're very aware. So, again, it's like an open door, man. It's just cracked open a little bit. We just got to kick it open and show these people what could be. Because there's nothing like this out there, man. There's nothing. I've checked all the other projects. It's just nothing.
Yeah, I've done the same. And I think that's the next great untapped market is the real horse racing circles in terms of um, your your ideal customer profiles, your ideal new users. I mean, they're generally those circles are generally quite affluent, wealthy people, lots of disposable income, lots of nebulous desires to own horses for the sake of ownership and for the sake of glory. Um, that is your target market if you can make them feel warm and fuzzy about getting online. And I think NFT is actually a blocker towards that, and cryptocurrency is a blocker to that as opposed to an enabler. I'll pass over to you again to call another big race.
Alright, here we go. It's the big one. Alright, it's the main event. The Gulfstream Derby. Massive 4-horse field. And they're off. K2 got the better of it here from the outside along with Vero Gone. Then comes Ajax, who are running here in third with support the team. Up in the red silks, hugging the rail and taking fourth here as I am packing some gas apparently. Around the first turn we go, and it's Pocono Racing runner in the yellow silks. Waiting for the names to come back. That's K2. K2 is showing the way here now, passed by Vero Gone. Opening quarter in 24 and change. It's amazing what a little bit of indigestion will do to a race call, and I'm all over the place now, but K2, as we pass the Y here for the first time, is going to show the way in front of Vero Gone. And Vero Gone with them magnificent markings. Look at that, beautiful horse. Majestic, as can't take the lead though, is riding along here in second, as K2 still shows the way. Another break of 4 comes Ajax and support the team as this field of 4 is spread out thin. Half mile is in the books, 49 change. And now K2's got some company from Vero Gone. And Vero Gone goes right on by as we skip down the backstretch across the pond, just like our boy Peeb. Me and Peeb across the pond from each other, and these horses are trotting. 3/4 and 113, and I feel like they always run 3/4 and 113, but that could just be me. And Vero Gone still shows the way now by half a length, as K2 now looks for a resurgence. But Vero Gone is holding strong as K2 circles on the outside, as does Ajax with one final move as these three have left support team in the dust. And we hit this home stretch, the lights on and they're heading for home. And it's K2 now who shows the way by a length. Ajax is running on. Vero Gone is called it a day. 100 meters to go, and it's going to be K2. K2 over Ajax and Vero Gone. It's going to be K2 winning them Derby points here in the Gulfstream Derby. That's a good race. It's hard with the four-horse races sometimes, trying to think of things to say.
Yeah, I would like to see. It would be nice if volumes increased and the field size increased a bit. I think the key to that is going to be juicing. So we talked about glory for glory's sake. The next thing is obviously is glory for wins. And an inducement to get people in is to go after a big pot that is giving them pot odds essentially in poker terms, giving them pot odds where a 4K Derby investment into a 80K Derby pot or whatever gives them pot odds. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that the team are able to juice. I know they've got a really good plan around recycling breeding fees. I loved that announcement when that happened, and same with Race Rake. Those two elements going in great. I suspect they will need partnerships for further juicing. I think that's probably going to be where that comes from.
Yeah, now if we could just get Ian to stop taking vacations and spending all the money. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, man. If they watch this, I'm just freaking kidding. But no, I agree. No, I agree. Like, they're doing all the right things. They're saying all the right things, and it's easy to say the right things, you know. But this team has shown me time and time again that they're, you know, they know what they're doing. They're backing it up. Again, a couple bumps in the road, but they seem to kind of, you know, they get a feel for the community real quick. They put their thumb on it, and they kind of, you know, they pivot and they make the right move. So far, it's been 100% in my book. But there's a couple things I think as we move further into. Well, I mean, how much longer do we even have on this? Was it run to the 25th?
And I don't know if they've announced how long V3 goes for. They intended that the under and over bet date is 20th of April, which is Ian's birthday, I believe.
Yeah.
So they've probably got. I mean, I don't think they should wed themselves to that date. I mean, I would like to see the game go live as quickly as anybody, but
Yeah.
there does need the fundamental building blocks have to be there. And they're in a race against time. I wouldn't want them to rush anything. I wouldn't want them to go live with not ideal race math, for example. So hopefully they get those building blocks in place. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much ready to go. The game, it's kind of there and ready. So hopefully, mid to late April isn't off the table at this point.
Yeah, like you said, like if everything is there, like I said, the race math, get that as good as we can get it. You know what I'm saying, for the short term, right? I mean, actually, get it as good as you can for the long term too. Don't piss anybody off, like I said, Run did. But get it to the point where it feels like they're happy with the status and people aren't complaining about it. And again, I don't really complain too much about the current race pace and stuff because a lot of video games and even regular horse racing games like Gallop Racer and what's the other one I play? It's like Bar Lap. It's actually pretty cool. Even those games don't really have realistic paces. And these are, AAA titles sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's not an easy thing to program. I don't even know how the hell I'd write the algorithm, but like I said, I think we can all agree there's some tweaks they can make, but yeah, man. I mean, it's in such a good spot right now. If they can just, fine tune it, they don't need to rush it. I think we're going to be racing against the same people for a while anyway, whether or not we're in V3 or live. So, not like you said, you can't rush, trying to get new users in when there's going to be no horses for a while anyway. So, get the math where it needs to be, get us going in live, and then, start the onboarding process of the masses, and then by then, hopefully we'll have, people retiring the horses and getting the babies out, Because if someone just buys a horse and then they got to wait 2 months to race it, if they just own the horse, they're going to stick around, right?
Yeah, I agree.
They're not going to spend that money and then just be like, it's been 3 weeks, I'm bored. I'm going to get out of here.
And that is where some of the softer crap comes in. So I know a lot of people don't attribute some value to silks, to customization of your stable. But I mean, while you're waiting and twiddling your thumbs for horses to be ready to race, they're the kind of things, designing your logo, getting your silks ready, thinking of your horse names, all of those things that kind of keep you engaged whilst you're on that long wait, waiting for your horse to come of age. I mean, we mentioned Zed Run and change. I don't expect things to stay the same. I wouldn't expect race math, for example, to stay the same throughout. I think they will do iterative change. And you're right, Zed Run had an absolute nightmare of changing algorithms and worst of all, not being transparent about it and pissing off most of their community. It's almost a bit of a travesty in a way that Zed Run had all the money it did and PFL running in trying to launch in a bear market. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of their financials, but I doubt they've got the same access to what Zed have been able to waste away on, giving away on prize funds and stuff. But this product feels like a much better product than, in my view, than Zed was. I mean, I'm more of a horse racing purist, so I'm probably going to say that I'm probably not the target market for Zed. But I mean, when I was introduced to Zed, my eyeballs popped out of my head. I was excited. This is like taking that to the next level, and I think this will get the real world horse race enthusiasts involved as well.
Oh yeah,
and like that's the next great untapped demographic, and I'd like to see. I would love to see one or two big names come, or one or two people from that world come into Discord and start to pick up some horses, and that will start to fill me with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and like I said, you touch all these different demographics, and for me, I'm trying to onboard real gamblers. All right, those are the eyes I'm trying to get on it, and the 3 people that I pretty much run my syndicate with, they're all degenerate horse players, all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
They own real horses, some of them, and 2 of them, and it's something that we got into when I showed Zed Run. It was kind of like, oh, okay, I can own a digital horse and we can run it for money and like, run some free races here and there and try to qualify. Like, that's cool. I'll do it in my spare time. But man, when I showed my uncle a photo finish, and I've been playing horse with my uncle for over 30 years now. Man, when I showed him photo finish, he was like, oh, what track is this? Thinking I was playing like real horses. And I was like, no, 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 no. This is a game. This is a platform. I'm like, these are all real horses owned by real people. And he was blown away. To this day, he's still blown away. Like
And yeah,
that.
this I completely, and this is before there's any kind of personality or identity about the whole thing. So we're still in beta. Like horses are
Right.
horse names are changing. Like, okay, that some of the big stables are established, but there's no identity and personality around horses, which there will be. Like once it goes live, you'll know the big horses. There'll be legends in the game. There'll be legendary stables. There'll be memories attached to certain race courses if there's different tracks and stuff. Like this is before any of the. This is the bit that excites me actually. Is it's before any of the fairy tale has started really.
Yep.
And I just yeah, I hope that we get there and we get there running and sprinting as opposed to limping.
Yeah. This is like the one big cosmic gangbang before the Big Bang, right? And then it's just like, we're going to see all the fruits of the labor here, hopefully in the next, year, 2 years, right? And really see,
Yeah, hopefully.
How far this thing can go. Because, I mean, I think the sky's the limit, man. Just.
I do too. I do too. I think they've got to get more eyeballs. Eyeballs have now got to be. I know they don't want to market until the product's live. I get that, and I also get why they wouldn't want new eyeballs looking at maybe the very early stages where there's hot fixes, where there's changes to be had, where there's a small population of horses, small population of owners. And I can understand why they would then want to ramp that up as it gets closer to these owners being able to come in and pick up horses. We haven't really talked about wagering either, but obviously that isn't ideal with the parimutuel, what they've got in there now, and I don't think there's any realistic chance of them juice and wagering pots to the extent that it would need to for parimutuel to work. So they've got a few kinks to work out with wagering if that is the aim for new users to be the first interaction. But once they get eyeballs on this project, and I'm fairly convinced if they market in the right place that the market is there. And if it was me, I would be putting myself around in the eye line of race goers, real life race goers. I know there was a school of thought a while back that maybe Zedrun was old disillusioned Zedrun stable owners was potentially the right profile of people to come over, and I think that might have been true at one point. I don't think it is anymore because that disillusioned bunch have seen their bags basically go to shit.
Well,
And
yeah, because they came in and the community was toxic, and again, they just kept on burning the top barns over and over and over again, and they redid breeding, and then they were like, oh, we messed up, refund this, breeds didn't go through, and people getting like tons of super horses, and I mean, I still got people that are in Zed Run, and I joke with them like all the time, and I'm like, dude, come on, man, it's time. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on.
But the reason why I say they're not the ideal customer anymore is because I think even the most valuable horses in Zed Run, they would struggle to find liquidity to sell them. They would struggle to get out. So I think whoever's got their Zed Run assets now, I think they're by and large stuck there. From what I understand, I've still got friends in it as well. I don't have anything left in it other than a couple of.
I know, but I'm talking small exposure. I'm talking like syndicate type exposure, right? Like, come over with me and 4 of my buddies, you know what I'm saying? And let's all throw down a couple $100 and let's grab something decent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to own horses like I own that are A minuses and A's that I paid, a couple $100 for, right? I mean, it's not a good way to go if you're gonna get a syndicate together,
Yeah, I agree with you.
And Soulmate said something really smart too, actually, because we haven't really tested claimers, so that's gonna add like a whole new, dynamic to racing and picking your races too. So there's just so much.
He's absolutely right with that. Claimers are going to be the bedrock and a foundation of a lot of the economy in Photofinish. And I'm really excited to see it. In fact, you know what? I mean, we always profess to be an S minus stable. We dropped down to A plus with a few fillies as well. I had to twist my partner's arm to do that because he's such a grade snob that he wouldn't go below S minus. So I twisted his arm to get A plus. But I've started a little side stable with a B and a B plus because I just think it's going to be really exciting down there. I think it's going to be fun to do the horse trade, and no pun intended, to see those lower grades get chucked into claimers and who gets picked up, who doesn't. And I think it's going to be profitable as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's good. I think there'll be a lot of money to make.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, soulmate again, 100% marketing the horse fans, the way to go. It's because, like I said, it's I don't know if you're familiar with like Vivi. They do like the Marvel comics and like Disney NFTs and stuff. You know, they're brilliant because you don't need the wallet, and it's why they have so many problems too. They're not perfect by any means, but they're able to onboard people and get people easily involved because you sign up, you KYC, and you just link your credit card. You know what I'm saying? There's no MetaMask. There's no 12 keyword phrases you got to remember, and God forbid you lose it and you get locked out. There's none of that. You just log into your account like you do Facebook or anything else, and that's it. You buy and trade your NFTs. Like I always said it. Whoever simplifies that process wins easily. Whoever simplifies gas fees, again, Solana, wins. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got first involved in crypto, I looked at Ethereum and I read about Solana, and I'm like, why are people not using Solana? Like,
I can't believe. My introduction to crypto was Ethereum, and exact same experience as you. I moved to Solana, and I was like, what the fuck is anyone doing on Ethereum? I don't know whether there's security concerns. I mean, I'm not a crypto guy at heart. I'm in here for the horses.
It's not a security concern, from what I understand. It's a reliability concern. But here's the thing. When Solana goes down to 30% of its capacity, which is like 70,000 TPS, transactions per second or whatever. Oh, we got a... Jesus. All right, well. Getting back in here. We're going to have to figure that out for next time. I have to stream by myself because, yeah. Didn't really want to end it on that note, though. Let me just get him back in here real quick. Yeah, it's just Zoom. I got free Zoom. I'll probably use like Discord or something next time. I don't normally host shows. I just join them and talk shit. All right, he is back.
I'm back. Do I need to? I might need to pay for a Zoom subscription. Do I? I think I only get 40 minutes free or something.
I always thought it went by the host. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, but Solana as a network. I mean, I've only, apart from the NFT space, has got a little bit of a reputation for being the Wild West, for being for having a few rug projects. I mean, I think that exists everywhere, but I know the NFT space for Solana, from my Ethereum friends, they look at it and think it's the Wild West. But in terms of, again, user experience and functionality and being able to move your money freely and without gas fees and all of that, I can't understand how Solana is whatever 50, 60, 70 times smaller than Ethereum in price at the minute.
Well, so the rule of thumb, well, I don't say rule of thumb, but the theory, I guess, the working theory, and it does kind of make sense if you think about it, right? Look at a game like Fortnite, and then look at like a game that's not free to play, right? Hackers are always going to go to the free to play because it's easy. They can play around to Playground for free, and Solana is kind of the same thing. It's a lot cheaper, you know what I'm saying, for them to try to like have that playground to mess around. But again, even when they take down Solana, they don't actually take it down. They just knock it down to 30% capacity, which is still doing like I think 100x of what Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing. So it's like, what's the big problem? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just people see like, oh, it's getting attacked, it's getting taken down, but they're not understanding that it's still running circles around every other freaking blockchain at that point. So I don't know, man. It's a very, to me, it just never made sense. I was like, why would anybody use anything other than Solana? So
I agree. I don't think I could go back to Ethereum. I don't think I could go back to paying gas fees.
I mean, I have some projects that I mess around with that I fortunately have no choice, but most of them are on Matic, which is nice because Matic's a little worse than Solana, but it's not bad. Like I sold like a $800 gaming NFT for the Doc Disrespect shooter game for like, and it cost me 2 cents to transfer with gas fees. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fine. If that was an Ethereum thing, that would cost me like $40. You know? So it's just,
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
is mad. What's your PFL plan then? Or are you set? Is your stable set, or are you still in the market for more?
I mean, I'm pretty much set. What I need to do is I just need to, you know, find ways to be useful to people like you guys. That's all. So when breeding time comes, you know, Uncle Mo's sitting over here and he's like, hey, I got a filly that matches that stud. You know what I'm saying? Like, come over and drop that nut. You know, it would be nice. But no, I don't think I'll be buying any more horses. Like the tickets for me right now are just out of reach for anything I'd be looking to get. But again, I am thinking about the syndicate with Vault. I think that's going to be something cool we can all do together. Which again will onboard some more people to be involved on the day to day. But yeah, like I said, I got my syndicate of 3 guys here, and like I said, if I gotta do something with Vault in them, we'll do that too. But that's pretty much where I'm at for now. I'm just gonna focus on calling races and try to turn this into a full-time thing.
Yeah, I think that is really exciting for some people. So I've got a couple of friends actually I can think who are on the exact opposite spectrum of this. So one of my friends would want to own everything himself. He'd want complete autonomy and control over his stable. He'd want no one getting anywhere near his horses. So he would throw in $1,000 on his own, buy his B horses, and come up with his own plan. On the other side of it, I've got a friend who's $1,000 he would want with as many people as possible because he would want the most expensive horses that he can afford, and he wouldn't care if he had 5% of it as long as he was in the biggest races. And that is where syndicates come in. That's quite exciting, I think. And if you can be someone who is driving the agenda of a syndicate, if you can be on the exec board or whatever, and if you can help shape where a syndicate's going, it's like owning it yourself, except you get to play in the bigger stakes.
Right, and if you join a syndicate with a bunch of random people, I can understand it's like But if you do it with a group of friends or people that you know from a Discord or something you've been around with for a while, like the people that Vault has, in his whole community, I'm just saying, man, like that to me, that's what it's all about. Like it'll create bonds, it'll create friendships, and hopefully not much hatred. I don't think people will be dropping thousands each. You know what I'm saying? Again, a couple $100, people could probably get in and could probably get a really nice horse. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the beauty of PFL right now. You asked me before how much people were spending on fine fillies. I mean, bear in mind it was during the bull run. Solana was at when I first joined and moved all my Ethereum over to Solana, it was trading at about $60-$70. It went up to around $120, I think was the peak, or maybe 140. So PFL assets have tracked US dollars roughly. But at the time of breeding, I mean, there will be a few people who have held their assets who will be in the hole a little bit because some of those fine fillies were going $10,000 plus. I can probably, in fact, if you go and search SalesBot, and if you just randomly type in some fine filly numbers, for example, I'm pretty sure that SalesBot comes up with whatever the US dollar rate was at the time. I don't think it changes with time. So you can find out exactly what people pay for stuff, but some of it's eye-watering. I mean, we've got our best S minus colt, who was known as Mordy Do in the first V1 and 2 of the beaters, is now Eclipse.
I know
That
Mighty do.
horse, yeah, we didn't breed that horse, but we bought it. It was a record purchase at the time. It was not long after Solana did its first crash, not the FTX crash, but the summer crash.
Mm.
And we bought that horse, and I had a look back to see how much it cost to breed, and it was eye-watering. It really, those two, the owner bought both the stud and the filly, which wasn't the norm at the time. I mean, Soulmates did that brilliant service of his renter barn. I mean, when we joined, the reason why we had such a trampoline into being able to trade up the the PFL ladder was a lot because of Soulmates, but also the timing that we joined in relation to PFL's journey and when Soulmates started his service. Because I mean, a lot of people were preparing their barns and buying colts and fillies, so buying the stylish stud and buying the fine fillies to breed together. When at a point we joined, Soulmates was established and trusted. He had the breeding wasn't open, but he was reasonably trusted within the community, and everyone knew him. So we knew that renter stud was a thing. So all of a sudden, we didn't have to spend out on colts, and we knew we didn't from day one. We knew we didn't have to buy stylish studs, and we could just focus on the fillies. And because of that, it gave us a real edge when we first joined.
Smart. Okay. So I mean,
Um,
if you were to take the Mighty Du's a colt, right?
yeah.
So for a horse like that, and again, feel free to tell me, mind my business. But if we're looking at like a monthly, or you can't say day to day, right? It's like season to season. We're gonna be get what, 30 breeds per colt per season, right? Was it 30, 31, 30, whatever that was?
35 is the limit.
Was 35 the limit? Yeah, 35. I gotta get some sleep soon. But so if you took that 35 and spread that out over the course of like the lifetime of the horse you're gonna breed, obviously not taking into account the racing years. I mean, what are you guys really thinking? I mean, to put them out on the market. I mean, what are we really thinking that these people might be looking at for like an S minus type colt breed?
We were having this exact conversation in the we've got a secret YSM Discord on the side Discord today. So we were having this discussion about what we think stud fees might look like. There was a time when you could potentially have asked for $1,000, $2,000 for the best filly, the best studs. I don't think it'll be at that level now, but I think the absolute top creme de la creme studs in each category, kind of top 10, top 15 in the game. It's going to be really hard to say, but I think you'd be disappointed if you're not getting at least a few covers at $250 to $500. I think, depending on how successful the game is. I mean, it all depends, or a lot of it depends on how profitable some of the horses end up being, because then people see that. I mean, that's how Zedrun got so popular, is people were seeing that horses were making Ethereum, and they wanted to emulate that. So I think if those horses within the PFL ecosystem are demonstrably successful, and people see that they're making money, then they will try and emulate that, and they will pay sizable breeding fees to make sure that they get the best blood. So I think it's impossible to say what level it's going to be, but I think I'd be disappointed if some of the best ones weren't at that level. I'd be disappointed if we didn't see a 4-figure breed. I would be disappointed if at least a few covers didn't go for 4 figures. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I can't wait to see all of this. The dynamics are going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not even talking the top cream of the crop. I understand, you could be talking 4 digits for those. But even if you took 35 and you got 1,000, I mean, you talk about $35,000 a month. We're talking. I mean, obviously minus the fees, whatever. But about $35,000 a month with, potentially what? If you retired at 8 or 9, and you bred till 25, you talk about 16. You know what I mean? We're talking like over 300, 400,000, like $500,000 maybe. I mean, that just seems absurd to me.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll get. So there's a few things at play there. One, I actually don't think a lot of colts will wait till 8. I think they'll go early. I think a lot of colts will go early. I think people are skeptical of crypto and online gaming, so I think they'll want to monetize as quickly as they can. So I think they'll go early. I then think that the first 2 or 3 breeding cycles, you'll probably see the peak, unless there is a marked peak in volumes after that, in which case the first 5 or 6 seasons you'll see a peak in colt fees, I'd imagine, in cover costs. And then the market starts to after 5 or 6 seasons, your Gen 1s become available. So if you're doing maths on being able to breed at full capacity for your entire life, you've got your maths wrong. Because the Gen Zeros, I mean, they have got an advantage. I think we saw that in V1 and V2. They do seem to be more predictable breeders, and there were still people late in those beaters going for those horses to breed with, even though there were ostensibly better V1 Gen 1 horses available. So the market will always be there for Gen 0, but it will slow down. You won't fill your quota unless you absolutely go pants down on your price. So I think you've probably got to make your money in your first 5, 6, maybe as far as 8, 9 seasons worth of covers, depending on when you start. And the temptation will be to keep successful colts out on the track as well. But I think that'll be 50-50 in terms of people keeping them on the track as opposed to getting them in the barn as quickly as they can and monetizing.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And
The dynamics, I'm going to be fascinated to see the dynamics. I really am.
yeah, me too. And that's why I'm, because I most of my barn is, unfortunately, I guess, right dirt firm. But my main filly, I have a match for it, but like, that's what I'm saying. So I'll throw this message out. If anybody ever watches, if you got S minuses, if you guys are doing discount days and you want to toss old Mo a nice breed for like $100-$200, I'll pay that shit. I'll pay it. I ain't gonna pay $1,000. You know what I'm saying? But like, I can piece together, a couple $100, especially between a couple guys. But to come up with thousands, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just never gonna be something I could ever sustain. But maybe I'm not the guy that will potentially hold this game up long term. I probably wouldn't be.
No, I don't think that'd be the norm. I don't think. I mean, unless the game is absolutely goes stratospheric, I don't think it'll be the norm that you see 4-figure breeding fees at all. I think if there is a 4-figure breeding fee, I'd be unsurprised but happy. I think that would be a good result for the game if someone managed to snag a 4-figure breeding fee. I think breeding will be affordable. Like, I mean, the amount of options that are out there. I mean, people can buy colts right now for like good breeding colts. They're available out there on the marketplace.
Oh.
So I mean, people can inbreed or breed in-house if they want to.
Yeah, which is something, which is going to help out people if they're going to let us do that and not have to expose the horse to the market. As well as, how do you feel about, like, let's say me and you did work something out. You were like, hey, Mo, I need you to call 10 races for me, right?
You're trying to make a deal on the stream. You're trying to hold me to this, Mo. I know.
No, I'm not trying to hold it. I'm just saying, if you were to cut, I'm saying, how do you feel? Because I ask everybody this, like, how do you feel personally about, like, being able to send a horse? Like, if I'm like, all right, cool, well, I want to mate with your stud, but you don't want to expose it to the market, but we work out an arrangement. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you can put NFTs up on the market for certain people only. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they going to allow stuff like that? Are they going to allow, like, handshake deals? Because in real horse racing, there's horses like Gunrunner where you can't breed with that horse anytime you want. You don't just go to that horse with money and breed it. Like, you have to get the okay. It's very limited. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's still done. It's not only in-house breeding. So, I don't know. I'm just curious. I guess maybe how people would feel about that.
I mean,
I'm going to be wheeling and dealing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm conflicted about handshake deals, and so I think handshake deals will really benefit OG, and I think we've just got to be careful to make sure it's not a closed shop. Having said that, I mean, you obviously there are going to be people who want to make the best of the hand they get and make the best of their relationships that they've made over a long period of time. I think how the functionality will manifest, if I was guessing, so they've already kind of alluded to in-house breeding fees. So you can, I think the current plan is it's $50 if you own the stud and the filly, $50, and you can make whatever you like within your own wallet.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean that seems pretty fine. I wouldn't like to see anything which circumvents anything below $50, obviously, because that rake has got to go to TT, and they've been kind enough to say that's going into race juice and the race pots. So great. They've got to make sure that they protect that revenue stream. When it comes to, I would then imagine, I think it's been suggested in Discord before, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a make offer type functionality or a button where you can make an offer to breed with a horse and make whatever offer you want to, not necessarily the listed price. I just think we have to, the team and everyone has to be careful that we don't create a closed shop around this, because I think it'd be bad for the game if too many studs and too many colts are gated I actually, you know, I've done a U-turn on this. I had plans to gate as many of our rare cults as we could, but I'm doing a U-turn on it because I don't think A is good for the game. I don't think it's good for us in a way. I think the breeding outcomes have also been fairly variable. So I don't think you're guaranteed selling like a winning lottery ticket, which kind of changes my mind a bit. If you're selling something that could be great, I mean, if it could be great, it actually benefits the seller anyway, because you can just point to it next time someone wants to come and have a cover with your stud. So it's not a bad thing to sell a world beater, even if you're competing against it. I've lost my train of thought now, so I'll pass back to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. And like I said, it's gonna be a funny give and take. It's like I said, especially early on, trying to juggle, you know, what horses are available, who's trying to run, you know, who's retiring early again, how many horses are redeemed. There's just gonna be so many moving parts that we don't really know what's gonna happen until they just flip the switch. You know, even if racing math is perfect and everything else is crystal clear, we still don't know. There's going to be so many moving parts on day one and going into the first, you know, couple seasons. You know, I guess the way I see it when it comes to like the in-house breeding stuff is, if the big barns wanted to gatekeep, they could do it anyway. You guys have enough money. You guys could say, you know what? I like you. I know you, dude. I'm going to send you $3,000 right now in Solana. Go buy the horse. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing circumventing that, because people do that all the time anyway in other platforms too. You know what I'm saying? That would hurt people, like, I guess people that, you know, didn't have the money or didn't have the hookup like that, right? But at the end of the day, like, if you're gonna gatekeep the horse, there's simple ways to do that anyway, you know. But I don't know. I just don't think that. I'm glad you made a U-turn, because that helps me, I think. But you know, for everybody to just be like, hey, I got the best horse in the game, and I'm gonna keep it, you know, restricted into the house. Like, I kind of get that. I do totally get it. You know.
Yeah, and the reason the pro gatekeeping, or the reason why you might want to gatekeep is because you could almost. So let's take Morty Do as a really good example. If you sell a cover, and that cover goes on to make a better horse than Morty Do, you can basically lose the bottom out of the value of Morty Do's cover value. And you've got competition which is better than Morty Do in 2-3 years time when they come to retire it.
Yep.
So you'd have to be kept, like, honestly, the dynamics are fascinating. They really are. I can't wait to see it all happen in front of our eyes. It'll be like a Discord meltdown, except every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I try not to contribute to that too much. I just hope people kind of understand that it's a really bad look when new people come into the Discord and see that. I kind of wish there was more of a private way to complain to everybody. That's just my take on it.
I mean, to be fair, I think that most of that happens in the Gate channel now. I think most of it goes on in the Jockey Club, which is gated, so new users generally can't see that. I mean, I'm I'm a little brother in real life, so I've spent my life winding up my big brother. So as soon as I see an opportunity to wind somebody up, I take it. I can't help it. It's hardwired into me.
No, me too. I'm from New York, man. Like, yo, we love going at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And especially the way I talk with people sometimes, which is why I will never have a direct affiliation with Photofinish, because they don't want me representing them. Trust me. I will pop off. I will pop off at the mouth and be canceled at any moment. It could happen. You know, it is what it is. I'm a bitter 41-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but all jokes aside, you know, I hope that when people come into Discord, because I don't direct anybody to Discord, I just have them go to, go to Twitter, go to the website. The people that I know that mess with the game, they're in the game and they're on the site. They don't need to mess with Discord. They don't care about you people in Discord. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, because again, they're older, they're gamblers, and it's not their life. Their life isn't sitting around trying to argue their side with somebody in a computer program. You know, so.
And in a way, that's the way it should be. I mean, the game shouldn't be reliant on Discord. It shouldn't be reliant on people having to come into Discord. And in fact, you've got something wrong if they have to come into Discord to find things out. And that would be another pothole that the team have just got to try and swerve. They have to find a way for the PFL site to be self-contained. Everything you need is in there. Yep. I know that they've always desired that. I know that whilst things like Racer's Edge have been very helpful, I know they want all of that information in. in the site itself, so you don't have to go anywhere else. And for it, I think that is important for a game where you could only interact with it once a day, just to enter your horses into. That they do need something to keep you on the site, and I think good data and good access to dashboards and data analysis would keep you on there.
Yeah, and he was nice enough to open that back up because he was closing shop on Racer's Edge. So, Steelheart, and I actually reached out to him to be, how could I maybe pick up the slack a little bit? I've code Python a little bit here and there, but the stuff he does, I teach myself it over the course of however much time, but I don't have that time. So, it was nice to see him kind of open it back up and let everybody get some data again, but it's going to go away again, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he did it temporarily because I think it was easy to. I think he was expecting changes when it moved from Debian to USDC. And I think basically his API allowed him just to flick the switch and it worked as intended. I think they've changed something again, which means that it's broken, so that's why he's taking it down. He's not bothered about spending time redeving it. He's a really good guy, still. He's brilliant. So he is a YSM.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's great.
He's an investor in YSM, so I speak to him most days, and he's a funny and interesting guy. I have to say that YSM Discord, I probably speak to those guys more than I speak to my own family at this point, but they have me laughing most days.
Nah, that's good, man. That's what it's all about. So you didn't know these guys, right? Before all Photofinish, this is like a.
No, so me and my partner, a friend, my stable partner, we're friends in real life. So we both came over from Zed and put our pots together and started together. But then no, never met any of the three investors, but they're dotted around the world. Hopefully, if this all takes off, then there'll be a Kentucky Derby reunion or union.
There we go, man. And that's, and again, if anybody goes back and watching now, thanks again for watching, by the way. If you watch this on a VOD, get involved, get some people together. If you look at real horse racing, people don't buy horses by themselves. You're not Bob Baffert, all right? You're not going out there with a pocket full of money. You're not buying into mischief horses. You don't have $250,000. Call some friends, get some people together, man. I'm telling you, like people are saying, there are some good breeding colts available on the marketplace. So I would definitely get involved and, take advantage of everything that's going to happen early, because this shit pops off, man. People are going to be real mad they didn't get, a little more exposure than they did. So
yeah, and there couldn't be a better time to get in right now, I don't think. Solana's on its arse, so things are as cheap as they have been. There's a few itchy feet or a few cold feet, people paper handing a little bit. Generally, look, this community, actually, even using the word paper hands in this community is completely disingenuous, because there's some of the most diamond-handed people I've ever met in crypto in this space. People aren't selling the biggest pieces; they're just not going anywhere. They are ride or die with this game, and they believe in it. Like trying to trade and trying to pick up some of the best pieces at the top. And we've tried multiple times to pick up some of the best pieces. They're not available. People aren't going anywhere. And if they are available, then they're available for sky high prices. But there's value in the marketplace right now, all over the marketplace, top to bottom. There is value there. It's a good time to join. Solana is, if you were joining net new from a different cryptocurrency or from fiat, then the value is there. Solana is low. The horse prices are reasonably low. I mean, they're probably comparable with Sol prices from 6-12 months ago, when Sol was double the value now. So I do think that it is a great time to come in and pick up some pieces.
Yeah, because that's when I got most of my horses. Was like, what, 6 months ago now? Maybe like 5 months. Yeah, 5-6 months. And it broke my heart, man. I had to sell my A+, because I might have overinvested a little bit at some point. I was moving money around from project to project and made a lot of money with DraftKings Rainmakers with their NFT and fantasy football thing. But I was like, man, I'm pretty heavily exposed here to Photofinish, and I had no breeding match for my A+. And it wasn't really that great of a runner anyway, so I was like, you know what? Let me recoup some of my money. And it kind of broke my heart, though, to get rid of any horse, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really going to do me any good. I would have had to inbreed and then flip the preferences. It would take me a while. I don't know if I could have done it. So, yeah, so I still have 8 horses, but, like I said, I'm just going to run the stable and Got to bring some more people in here as we go along, you know. But
Yeah, and you've just touched on another really good reason why syndication might be a good idea for some people. Because if your own bags could afford you one horse, these horses can be, especially with the new race math, that can be a bit of a lottery ticket. You could have it like you go and buy an A+ that looks like a good ticket on the face of it, and the roll doesn't help you. Like if you can join up with other people and buy multiple, you're spreading your risk across, and you're spreading your opportunity to hopefully roll a monster as well.
yep.
Um, I'm a big syndication believer, as you can probably take from this.
Oh, I'm glad, man. Because like I said, I start tossing the word around because again, I've always done it. You know what I'm saying? But then I kind of mentioned it to Ian. I think when we had him on the show on Friday or Saturday night, and they were like, "Well, it's something we're looking at. Whether it be like access to the horse through the syndication, right? Like linking the wallets and knowing who's in the syndication, right? Or profit splits and stuff like that. I mean, all that stuff could be easily handled on the platform, and then just and just paid out from there. But it depends. Depends on how much they really want to support it on their end. But we don't always need Photofinish to do everything for us, okay? And that's something I think the community can take away from a lot of this is that you can, you can put a syndicate together yourself. You can, I think was it Fud Guru, what his name is? Does like the wagering stuff. Like if people have that, if I was rich enough, I would take parimutuel bets. I would open up triples, exactas, pick threes for all you degenerates. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many ways that people can, pick up the slack of maybe where PFL isn't ready to jump in yet. You know what I mean? And it might even be better. And you mentioned earlier, like getting people involved and having like the things that they can attain, right? And for me, it's like, well, I would make weekly NFTs. You know what I'm saying? Like 3D trophies that I can send out to the winners of specific races. Or we have chat vote on like the race of the night or the horse of the night. And then that later on that night, I create the NFT and I send out one to the winner of that race and I mint, 10 total. And then we either sell them and then use that for like maybe our DAO or syndicate or whatever, or we just put it back in and do other stuff with it for the community. You know what I mean? Like there's other things we can do to kind of like keep the ball rolling and get things started on our own too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, like I say, those vanity type metrics are so important. People wanting to pursue Hall of Fame, like, I mean, hopefully, you say that it shouldn't be led by a team, but I would hope that at some point there's going to be a PFL Hall of Fame, and there's going to be horses that are there. There's a tab on your screen that underneath news says Hall of Fame, and you can cycle through and you can see some of the greatest races that we've seen, and you can see some of the greatest horses, and it becomes a bit of PFL folklore, and things like that is what will take this game to the next level. And when it comes to syndication and other things like maybe there'll be community-driven competitions, and there's a bit of gravitas and kudos in winning something like that. Syndication is happening already outside of what the team aren't offering the ability to syndicate right now. Maybe it is in play for go live. I don't know. But right now you can't syndicate, or you can't like split assets across people, so you have to do it outside. I mean, we are a syndicate. We've got legally drafted contracts with our syndicate owners. They're there and signed, and I mean, I did law degree, so that helped. But if you can get those building blocks in place outside of, like you say, what the team can do, then you can do it all yourself. You don't need, as long as there's an element of trust and you believe in the people that you're working with, then you don't need that functionality. Albeit obviously the usual caution. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure that you're comfortable with the people that you're dealing with, because this can be a faceless and anonymous area, and there are some bastards out there.
Oh, for sure. And anybody that watches me or knows who I am, do your own research. I'm just a stoned 41-year-old idiot on the internet, man. Like if you're listening to me, man, get a new hobby. But you're right, and that's why I say, get involved with Vault's Discord, the guys we're trying to work with, because we got a bunch of people there from the the VV NFTs and the comic stuff and stuff he does. So it's cool, it's a whole nother group of people that might not have seen the game, which is why it was cool when I met Vault. You know, he was like, yeah, you know, I used to work at Churchill Downs, this and that. And I gambled on horses. I know about horses, and yeah, it's cool. And now we do the, you know, the Friday, Saturday night shows. You know, so it's nice to be able to kind of pick people from different, you know, walks of life and different parts of the internet, and you know, like, hey, yeah, you're a degenerate too, just like me with the horses. All right, cool. You know, let's make something happen. Because again, more people that make content, the more people that, you know, again, create trophies or prizes or, you know, figure out ways to get people engaged. Let the team focus on what they need to focus on. And then when they're ready to put the Hall of Fame in and they're ready to put in their own little prizes and trophies, like, you know, that's just icing on the cake. You know, but we can definitely, like I said, you know, play the hype train here in the meantime. You know, that's what I try to do in an unofficial capacity, of course.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some low level stuff that you can easily do. I mean, so here's a little anecdote for you. We mentioned HRM before, Horse Racing Manager being the precursing game to PFL. There was some downtime between, when was it? It was around the summertime when I kind of lost interest in V1. It kind of run its course, and we were waiting for V2. And I had the designs on going into HRM and winning a season online on HRM just to get that little diamond on Discord. So you see Wolof and you see JP, I think it is, turn up, or fully loaded or fully turn up on the Discord in PFL, and they've got that little diamond that signifies they've won a season on
Yep.
on HRM. And this nasty little idea came into my mind that if I had that diamond next to my name, having not been in a HRM original, people would be shit scared. So I played it for a few days, and I eventually realized I had absolutely no chance. But if you can give people those goals to get those silly little things that mean nothing but mean loads to certain people. There's a race in 30 seconds, by the way. I don't know if you've clocked that. If you can put
yeah, I
those
guess we'll
things in
call this
place.
and
Yeah, I think there's one more good race after this. Maybe call this race and one more, and then call it a night. And there's
yeah,
one that starts in 8 minutes after that.
yep, works for me.
But yeah, if those little draws, those little things where people will bite on, and it matters to them, even though it costs nothing and it means basically nothing in the grand scheme of things. Those little things are kind of what we're missing right now, I think.
Can't load the races for some reason. Oh, there we go. Alright, sorry about that. Technical difficulty. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Pete. Alright, we're back at it. And they're racing here in the Hempstead Handicap. Fun fact, I live about 20 minutes from Hempstead. Don't know if that's the same one. But it's Mary Lou from the get-go, runs out to lead along with Omar Little, and comes to Keela Sunrise down at the rail with Brianna in between. And it's GM and the Black Silks run along in fifth, with Silver Fog rounding out the top six here as they head around the first turn. And it's 8 furlong left turning affair on the dirt. And it's Sweet Mary Lou. Mary Lou runs to the lead here and leads by 2. Instantly challenged right on cue by Omar Little. And Omar Little now takes the lead as these two run up the backstretch here. I think we already said it, but we're heading 8 furlongs. Track is yielding, heading on the dirt, and I am fading quickly, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't slept in days, and I'm gonna take a nap. I gotta wake up for MILF Manor tonight, but for now, let's head back to the race. It's Omar Little. Omar Little pulls now by 3. Silver Fog is trying to gain ground here on the outside and looks to challenge as they round the far turn. Around and around the track they go. Who's gonna win? Nobody knows, except the algorithm. But for now, it's Omar Little. Omar Little starts to get away once again as the pack is got some work to do as they hit the turn and head for home. It's Omar Little by 2.5. Tundra and Silver Fog are blazing down the center of the track. They are good enough if ready today into the final 100. It's Omar Little on the inside, Tundra on the outside to the wire. It's going to be Omar Little holding on. All about that heart over Tundra and Silver Fog. All right.
There you go. We got a podium on stream for YSM. We couldn't get a win, but we'll take the third
Hey,
place.
there they are. I don't have a chat winner animation. I gotta probably make one. Or co-host winner for today. All right, 5 minutes for this, and then yeah, wrap it up there, and I can go take a nap.
It looks like a high class RTF race. This one. All of the big names in RTF are in there. So I think Steffi Style is a good one. She's the one, is a very strong one. The Wicked Witch has got a good record as a Stens horse. I think he's very strong at RTF. Alaska's a brilliant horse, so that is a very high match RTF filly. S minus, that'll be one of the 25 boost ones, I'd imagine. AK-47, God, that looks like a nice horse, blimey. This is a hell of a race, you know.
Yeah, I gotta do a better job of pulling shit up in between races. I'm over here packing up bowls of weed.
This one's got this one might have one of the best lineups I've seen in a race. RTF is a very competitive spot, but some real good horses in there.
Yeah, next stream I'll make sure I have a better memory that I'm the one controlling the visuals as well as the voices. Here's what Vault does when we do it, so I'm just like, yep, I just hang out. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some strong competition here. I mean, 212 out of 5 stars for AK. I've seen that horse run. Not that great of numbers out of Wolof, but
I'm not sure
money.
Stable Income is a new stable name on me. I'm not sure I've recognized that before. I mean, I don't race in this archetype, so I might not be aware of it, but I don't think I've seen that before.
Schmoopy, the Seinfeld horse.
Schmoopy.
That one of Ian's? Schmoopy?
I don't think so. Ian, I don't.
Oh, it's like Big Boss Stables or something, isn't it?
Yeah, and he only tends to chuck in his crap, basically. I don't think he'd put in good horses because it's.
Oh, yeah, true.
The Discord would be on fire.
That is true. But we do like when he throws donkeys into the races to go up, though. We do like that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about juicing, but juicing is going to be really important. Being able to, and not, I mean, that is kind of a really nasty mechanical way of juicing. But I think it's going to be really important to make sure that's the next big thing that drags people into races, is being able to, like I said, win more than maybe their pot odds suggest. I think those races which are struggling to fill, you'll have people rolling the dice a bit more if there's.
Oh, son of a bitch. Damn it. All right.
I think that's Zoom telling us that we've had enough, isn't it?
Huh. Well, it's telling me that I gotta probably do Discord video calls. Because I ain't paying for Zoom. The hell out of here.
No. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know how much that would cost, actually. Yeah, 1 minute 45 till the race. I don't know if you've got that up, but it's certainly a strong field, this one. Yeah, I think even in the interim, what I would like to see, and I don't know if you play poker in the MVP Discord or with the MVP crowd. It's good fun, actually. There's a little plug for MVP poker. But they've got into the habit of A, juicing it with Degen, but B, juicing it with MVP. So they've chucked in the odd MVP as a winner prize, which is not an insignificant prize. That, I mean, I think the floor price is at high 4s, maybe even 5 by now. So you're looking at $100 of juice just given away, and it instantly you can see the numbers of people entering just goes up double compared to what it normally is. So juicing will work. Juicing will be really important for this game.
Oh, 100%. Wait,
Yeah,
they're
and
giving
it,
away MVPs on the poker games, the avatars.
yeah, the
Oh,
MVP
shit.
NFTs. They've I think twice. There's been two poker games where an MVP has been top prize as
Hmm,
juice on top of the buy-in.
nice. I have two. I have to get a sweet, man. I really got to get when I screwed up so bad, not getting them when they were like $40. Oh,
Yeah, I mean they're not um, unachievable now. I think the floor price has gone down to about four. You probably, if you put a collection offer in for 3.5, you'd probably get one day.
yeah, that'd be nice if my car wasn't exploding and I know like $4,000 of
Yeah,
dental work coming up. But
I'll hand over to you for this race.
all right, here we go. Everybody came to watch Schmoopy. Schmoopy's gonna run here on Photofinish Major Race. 9-horse field. I haven't said 8 in the gate all day. We haven't had 8 in the gate. But they're off and running here, and it's the Wicked Witch from the extreme outside who runs out to the lead along with Angry Arya. Always got tongue trouble with that one, but she's the one got out well in third. In comes fan favorite Schmoopy, who now advances up from the rail in the second, with 8K47 rounding out the top 6 here. As this field heads on to the backstretch in this 6-furlong right turning affair on the turf. Track is good and smoke is better. Opening quarters 22, and they are quick with it today on the track. As Wicked Witch is looking to hold up this wretched pace. As Schmoopy now engages from the inside, but Wicked Witch goes right away and repels the challenge. She's the one now looks to get going here on the outside as Wicked Witch has now separated herself from the pack, but they hit the turn and hit for home, and the Wicked Witch now is 200 to go, but she's the one has their eyes set on the leader, and Schmoopy is now looking for room and might have found it, but it's going to be she's the one. She's the one going to bring home the nightcap over Schmoopy and Maya. Damn, that race was definitely lived up to the hype. All about that Schmoopy, man.
Yeah, I think Secretariat is Mr. B, is it? He's got some very nice horses. He'll do well when we go live.
Yeah, I call that stable quite a bit. Secretariat, yeah.
He's had success in every beta. I think he won the leaderboard on V1, if I remember. I know it's gross revenue rather than profit, but some of his horses are excellent. I think he'll do very well.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think everybody, for the most part, should be fine. Everybody just needs to take some advice from Aaron Rodgers and relax. Just let the chips fall. You know what I'm saying? Let's give it some time. Let's get some actual data, and then we'll see what the numbers look like. You know, and if Kevin's still winning 9 out of 10 races, then we might got to look at some things. But I think some changes that they've made pissed off some people. I see some grumbling here and there, but for the most part, I think everyone kind of understands. We're all in the same boat. We all want the same thing, want the game to succeed, and that's all we can really ask for.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, on that note, I have been falling asleep, I think, for the past few race calls, so I'm not going to ramble your ear off anymore, but I do appreciate you hopping on last minute, man, to hang out, and it's always good to, get some conversation going, not only for me and you, but I know in Discord they're saying it's a good conversation between me and you. I don't really know if we disagree on that many things, but I guess if, whatever kind of communication we have is working. So I do appreciate you, Peeb. And you got anything else you want to say? Where can we catch you? What's the best time to track you down?
No, mate, I'm good. I don't sleep, so I'm nocturnal. I'm famously nocturnal, so I'm available whenever. No, thanks for having me, Mo. Appreciate it. Cheers for running this. I think it's a good service to the community. I think the more we get this, the better.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, we try to do it every single week, multiple times. And that being said, shameless plug. I made a QR code with my Solana wallet. If somebody wants to test that out, that would be sick. I'll leave that up there for a minute. You know what I'm saying? No pressure. But yeah, we try to do this every week. You know what I'm saying? Just to again, kind of keep the show going and give everybody kind of a place to come hang out. even if it's just a bitch and complain, you know, just kind of come hang out and shoot the shit for a little bit. So anytime you want to come back, man, just holler, man. More than welcome. Appreciate you.
Cheers, dude. Thanks so much.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
Bye.
All right, chat. I think I did that wrong. I'm a bad host. I think I was supposed to say goodbye to you, and then I say goodbye to him privately, and I thank him for all of his efforts. Nah, Peep's a good dude, man, for real. I like Peep. And I don't really like that many people, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, Philly Show enjoyed the conversation. I know some other people were hanging out, so again, guys, really appreciate it. I know I'm like slurring my words, probably sound like I'm drunk, but I'm tired. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Thanks again for hanging out. Peep, awesome co-host today. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow night for Friday Night at the Races. Stay tuned. Join the races. Later. Oh shit, no, we're not starting.